Brr. Happy whatever you celebrate. I normally do Christmas. I didn't do shit this year, to be honest. I was going to go visit family in LA, but like too expensive. I've only ever missed 3 Christmases out there because I'm from LA and my girlfriend wasn't going home either, so we just stayed in Brooklyn and didn't do shit. And that was our Christmas gift to each other. Not doing a motherfucking thing. And let me tell you, it felt good. It was good. We stayed in. We watched Christmas movies, not by force. I volunteered. She likes to show me old films. And dude, there's a lot of them I haven't seen because I'm not from here. And that's what happens. And, you know, my parents came here and they didn't have any knowledge of classic American cinema. And there is no real classic Lebanese cinema of any kind. At least not that they've ever spoken about or told me about. We kind of just, like, I've never seen It's a Wonderful Life. Until Christmas. And let me fucking tell you something, dude. I cried so fucking hard. Dude, waterworks. It was so sad. But not sad. Because she was like, oh, it's sad. I'm like, no, it's actually happy. But I guess it's all the sadness culminating in happiness that made it so emotional. What's crazy, too, is that movie came out in 1946 and nothing has changed. For the, you know, in terms of like the American dream and how rigged it is and how we're all out there for ourselves and every once in a while a community comes together. But like there's more Potters than there have ever been, and they're arguably worse than they've ever been. I mean, Potter was a pretty fucking like classic movie evil guy. He was like so evil. You know, he represented like all corporate greed from then till now. And it feels the same. It really like feels the same. The what's his name? I already forgot his name. George Bailey? Is that it? He represents, you know, like a good, honest, everyday American guy just trying to get by. And he's, you know, got these dreams and I'm going to travel and I'm going to do this. And then life just happened. Although he could have done something. He was a little too good, if we're being honest. That go-getter mentality. All right, man. If you want to be the fucking best, you want to go from George Bailey to Potter, here's what you got to do. You only sleep 3 hours a night. You stop talking to all your friends. Never come home. Stay in the office all day, all night. Turn that building and loan into a fucking empire. That's what would be the modern version on TikTok. Some broed out fucking building and loan guy talking about how to maximize your hours, take human growth hormones, get up, work out at 4 a.m. I feel like the worst parts of that are getting amplified by the day, and the community coming together part, it's like, I mean, I'm sure that still happens, but it certainly doesn't feel like it, at least not on, you know, not online. And I know the internet's not real life, but when you go places, community feels like it's there. You really just got to go. I know when you visit small towns like Bedford Falls, which is, I know, not a real town, but I know when you visit towns like that, it always seems quaint and nice. But then when you stay there, then like the real town comes out. The local sort of like drama and the quarrels and the fucking weird racist, homophobic comments that small town people can kind of make and stuff. But like overall, you know, there's plenty of nice people in places like that. That story and like what it represents about like America as a community feels like a bygone era. And it sucks because that's the good part of that movie, and that's the part that feels like it's gone, you know? The rest of it just feels like it's, I don't know, kind of getting worse. Like all of America feels like Potterville now. You just don't meet that many George Baileys anymore. I don't know. It made me super, super sad. Not sad. That's not the right word. It just made me so emotional. I don't know, man. It's just like, I'm a couple years older than the George Bailey character, and I just sort of looked at it and was like, have I done enough at this age? Like, have I seen and done enough, and am I still loyal and true to like my friends and family and community and the things that really make up life? And it's just so many I don't knows were just rattling around in my brain. I think it just like broke me down. Get why it's a classic. And it was, I don't know, man, it was really good. I'd watch it again next year. It'd be an interesting movie to watch every year and see how it affects you. I wish I would have watched it like when I was turning 30 to see how it would have resonated with me, and what I would have deemed important, or what I would have looked at the character of George Bailey and been like, well, you know, he should be more like this and less like that, or I don't agree with this philosophy on life. But there were certain things that I thought like, you know, I'm glad that I took the risks when I was younger to like throw my life away doing comedy. Honestly, you know, it like things could have gone a lot differently, and I'd never wanted to be the kind of person who woke up and was like, dude, I didn't do any of it. Like, I didn't even try. That scared the shit out of me, especially because like the stakes felt so high in a lot of ways, immigrating to this country and knowing that if I fucked up, it would feel like I failed everybody. The thing with that is it's a lot of pressure to put on yourself, and it never really goes away. I still feel it now. So, and I don't think that it ever will go away. It's a matter of managing it. And I've met a lot of people over the years, you know, when I go to wherever city to do shows, people go like, you know, it's great that you started. It's great that you got into it so young and like didn't let life happen in other ways. Or, you know, I've just met a lot of George Bailey type people that never took the step towards doing something else. And I never, you know, felt one way or another about them. I'd look at them and be like, yeah, man, it seems like, you know, you got a good life. And like a lot of times you'd meet those people and they'd be, you know, with their wife or girlfriend, or like they'd, you know, their son or daughter's visiting and they take them to a comedy show or something. Like they seem like they are fine, but it's that one little part of them that comes out, and they probably don't say it much, but when they're talking to like, you know, some performer who came to their town and they were just like, oh, I wanted to be a musician or move to Hollywood and try acting or blah, blah, blah. Like you get to see that part of them. And I always found it really interesting, and it always like reminded me to feel super grateful that I like tried and took a risk that was really scary. And in a lot of ways now, you know, I look at some of those people and I envy the things they have. Not envy, but like I look at them and I see the value more now, and I feel it more now, especially because that's something in my life I think is lacking, like real stability, like community, you know, owning a home and like living somewhere where you can really feel like you're like it's kind of permanent. Like I love Los Angeles and New York City. I think they're great cities and I love living in both of them, but unless you are fucking loaded, there's no sense of permanence. Like you know, rent an apartment your whole life. Like the last building we lived in, the owner just out of nowhere was like, I have to sell the building, I'm dying. And literally this is how like shitty living in New York can be. The first like 6 people I told that to, they were like, you think he's lying? Like, why would he be lying? Like, just to get everyone out of the building and sell it, or to just like get new tenants in and jack the rent up? I'm like, God, man, we are all so cynical. And by we, I mean me too, because I was like, oh yeah, what if he is? And he wasn't. I mean, we just looked the building up like couple days ago, and it was completely gut renovated, and they're charging fucking $4,000 a month for like 1-bedroom apartments in Greenpoint, Brooklyn. And dude, that's living in New York, man. And you know, if you're fortunate enough to have like Cooper money, was that his name? No, Potter, not Cooper. If you got Potter money, then New York can feel permanent, man. You can have like a fucking nice penthouse or a brownstone Park Slope or something awesome in the Upper East Side that's like basically a whole floor of a old school apartment building, and then there you go. But there really is something missing in that sense, and it feels like something I wish I would have tuned into maybe when I was younger. But when you're in your 20s, it's like you have to just really want that to actually think about that. And that was the last thing I wanted. I didn't want to settle anywhere. I wanted to go try new things and go places and do comedy and all that stuff. And I still do. I just didn't have any need for that. I needed to go and explore. My mom said even when I was like a little kid, it was just like, she was like, I knew you're gonna be hard to keep in one place, because you always wanted to venture out and like go see and figure out what is that, where is that. It's funny the things your parents can pick up on super early. But I guess that was me when I was little. But yeah, I don't know what aspects of that, a movie like that and a story like that, like about living in America and what's left of the American dream and all that. Like if they remade that movie, what would the story be like? How would they portray a guy like Potter? He wouldn't be wheelchair bound. He'd be like a tech bro, a cool fucking enviable kind of guy. Like he wouldn't just be like the archetypal villain. I mean, have a little bit of both, but he would be like somebody people would probably root for. He'd be like the Elon Musks and the Jeff Bezos type fucking charming billionaire dickwad kind of guys. Who would play George Bailey? Who do you think would play? I could see it being like a Jason Bateman would make a good George Bailey. Edward Norton. He's kind of older though. You'd have to get somebody. Well, it would just be two people, I guess. Whoever would be the young George Bailey. I don't know any of the younger Hollywood 20-something actors, so whatever. But the like downtrodden, life has fucked him up George Bailey turning 40 or in his 40s or something like that. You'd have to push those years further, because in the modern age, people aren't settling down and having a bunch of kids and doing all that shit by 38. I mean, they're just getting started for a lot of reasons. We're getting married later. We don't have the financial means. Things are just different. We're, where George Bailey was at the end, I think that would be a lot of people when they're like 45 or 48 or some shit. They must have tried to remake that movie, right? There's so many different ways to do it. You could do like the forgotten Rust Belt American working class version of it. You could do the Black American experience of it. Jordan Peele should do a remake of that movie. That'd be great. The upside would be there are so many different like stories being told now about the American dream. It could go in so many different directions. But in 1946, it was just like those were the only stories being. It was this white American family and their struggles in suburbia and corporate greed and stuff. But yeah, it was one of those films where I was like, God, I wish I would have seen that a long time ago. And when people ask questions like that, they go like, you've never seen. There are too many movies like that, and I'm not from here. Like, I don't have parents and grandparents who've been here watching all these films to pass them down. We didn't watch them at Christmas and on weekends and that sort of. I had to figure all that shit out on my own. And there's too many. There's just, you create a list of like, I gotta watch all these movies and listen to all these albums, and you just kind of don't get to them. And then in between that, all the new stuff that's coming out. But yeah, that's a great one. And if there's other ones, I mean, she has other ones that we're still gonna watch, but if you guys have other ones to recommend, like really, really good classics like that, send them my way. We'll watch every last one of those fucking things. It's so cold. It's warm now because of all the heat, but this is how I'm sitting in the apartment. It's in the 30s right now. This audio I have to cut out because it's just dead air if you're listening. But if you're watching, you can see me looking like a fucking idiot, which is important. Special update. Editing's almost done. I'm hoping for a mid-February release. That's how it's looking. That's what every one of these fingers crossed. I even cross the fingers themselves and then cross my arms. Okay, that's what we're looking at, mid-February. And the editing's going well. I'm really happy with it. I can't wait for it to just be out there. It's funny, you do these things and you just move past them mentally, but they're still like in the finishing stages, and I'm just like, oh yeah, all that material. Yeah, I really just want to like be done with it. I'm already like into new material and already seeing. You always look back and you're like, I could have changed that or done this or done that. It makes it hard to watch in a lot of ways. And I've never been a fan of watching myself, so, or listening to my own voice or any of that. Withdrawal updates. I'm in the incredibly irritable phase, and I think I'm winding out of that. Those brain zaps that I was getting for the first couple weeks are largely gone. I'll maybe get a couple of them a day, which is nice because those really suck. I didn't know that they were gonna just slow down or stay that way. You can't feel it in your body. It just feels like that, and it doesn't. And then, but then one day you wake up and you're like, oh wait, it's been half a day and I've only had one brain zap. It doesn't like taper off. It's crazy that the things, these chemicals do to your mind in a good way. And, the withdrawal's the only kind of tricky part. But now I am in incredibly irritable almost instantly at the slightest thing phase. It's hard. It's hard. I think that's getting better. I don't know what I'm going to do after it's like fully out of my system. I might just stay on the Wellbutrin. I might go try something else. Depends on how I feel. I really honestly probably have to give it a couple of months to just like fully get out of there and just see how I am functioning just being on Wellbutrin. I hope I only have to be on the one. I mean, there's no have to. I can do whatever I want, but I don't want to like slip back into old kind of like anxiety, depression mindsets and habits and stuff. And I know I'm better off than I was. I've developed tools to sort of deal with those thoughts and feelings when they come up. But the goal ultimately is to one day not be on any medication. And I think our fucked up healthcare system was a blessing in disguise that I couldn't get a refill of Zoloft when I needed it. And now I'm feeling pretty good not on it. Let's hope it stays that way. Who knows? Who knows? I don't have any New Year's resolutions, but I'm not in a rush. I feel like you have well into January to really like solidify what those are going to be. Because a lot of times, if you're thinking about New Year's resolutions during the holidays when you're like stressed out and depressed, it's like you're making weird, where I'm like, I got to lose 90 pounds. I'm like, wait, that's not even healthy. Why do I want that? It's just because like I had 3 pieces of pie or some shit in a week. But your mind really convinces you of stuff that a week later you're like, oh yeah, I don't need to lose 90 pounds. No, just stress related resolutions are no good. I like to keep them like kind of small and simple, just like little tweaks that you make, and then they become easier to get to, and then you usually surpass them, and then it ends up feeling even better. So a couple years ago, I listened to a new album every day of the year, which was really cool. And I don't think a single one of them stuck and carried over into like albums that I are now in my regular rotation or anything like that. But I might do something like that again. That could be interesting because I'm way out of it's the most 40-year-old guy thing to say. I'm way out of the music loop. I don't know a lot of the newer artists and stuff. And I honestly, I'm just like, I'm busy doing other stuff. I'm like, I'm gonna read the music blogs and listen to 5 albums a day. It's harder to listen to new albums while I'm trying to work, especially now we're in like a video era where I have to like be editing videos and watching and listening to stuff. It's hard to like put on albums and do that simultaneously. It almost becomes like a separate activity instead of one that complements sitting down and writing and that kind of stuff. So, and there's more music than ever. It's really a young person's game, being like super at the forefront. One of the resolutions probably will be making something every day, no matter how small it is. That's kind of easier to do, which is nice. The technology's here. It's easy to piece these things together and put them out there. It's still not easy, but it's easier. And I think setting a small goal, like 1 a day, and then no real parameters on time, 10 seconds, just as good as 2 minutes, as long as it's something, and then put it out there. Make something, work on it, put it out there. So that's one that's most likely. I might tweak it, tune it a little bit, but that one's feeling pretty good right now for a resolution. But that's another one too that I'm open to hearing. Like if you have any that you want to send my way, I might steal one and do it, because we can all kind of borrow from each other when you're like trying to, better your body and mind. A lot of those can cross over, but unless your goal is to lose 90 pounds, I've already decided against that one. Maybe 30. Maybe I just won't eat a single piece of pie for the year 2023. That'd be a good resolution. And I would fail by January 6th, 10th. I wanted to talk about AI stuff because I've been seeing so much about all these like Chat GPT and Mind Journey and all these like, type in some shit and it just like creates something that makes you instantly feel like you're going to be unemployed forever. Like that's how good they are. But I want to do a little more research and watch and see what they're all doing. And then maybe we can pull some up on the screen and fuck around with them and see how scary they actually are. See how soon us writers and comedians and stuff will be out of work. Not soon, but it's coming. AI is coming for all of us. That's fucking Rise of the Machines. It's coming. Okay. Thanks for catching up with me, and see ya later.
Like, subscribe, and comment, and don't be a dick.